everyone. My name is Passek, the Fly Fish Fanatic. Welcome to my bench. Today we're going to be tying a fly that I have been tying for a little bit. This pattern I found on by a gentleman named Mac Flies, M-A-K Flies online. You can go to his YouTube channel and check him out. He's got some really good ties, but today we're going to be tying this here. It's the Organza Buzzer. So you can tie it in several different ways. This one here is on a Hen's BL 510, or you can tie it on a straight hook like this, whatever you prefer for your buzzers. It's a really simple pattern to tie. The biggest toughest part actually is tying in the goose bye at hot spots at the front. But so for today we'll be using just some organza ribbon. So that's what it looks like here, organza. Right here, I'll put it up here as well. So it's pretty simple to use. I'll show you guys how to cut it and stuff. We're using some Zemperfly Nano Silk in black. In the vise we've got a Hen's BL 510 in the size 12, and for the hot spot some goose bite in bright orange. So first thing, we'll start our thread here. Cut off the waist. Gonna put a little bit of wax on this just to make sure it sticks properly, as nano silk can be a little slick. It's an amazing product, super strong, but it can be a little on the slick side. So just want to put a nice base down. So with the organza, I'll do this on the small screen, so take a look on the small screen. But you see here the organza, it's got two edges. So if I cut this down the middle, it'll stay together, and these edges. And then there's fiber that runs lengthwise, and there's fiber that runs this way. I want the fibers that run this way. So I have to pull all these other fibers out. So what I do is I cut it in half, and then I slowly pull the fibers out and I taper it to look like this. So it's tapered. It's kind of hard to see. Maybe it'll be better here, but you can see how I've got it tapered from nothing to that. And you can still see that right at that cord, if you want to call it, there's still the odd fiber running the lengthwise. You can see that right at the cord. That's okay. You want to get most of them out, if not all of them, but that'll be okay. And all you do with that is let's see if I can actually pick one out on camera without causing too much of a strain. So you just go in with your pick, and you just go and you just kind of try to pick it out and get it started. Once you've got it started, then you can just grab onto it and it'll pull right out. See there, I just pulled out those. So, okay, really simple. So now I just cut it a little tie-in point. Just gonna get a hold of that little tie-in point there. Wants to wrap around on me. There we go. Just get a hold of that little tie-in point. Get that tied down nicely. All the way up. I'm gonna stop right about there. I'm gonna give myself a little, just one or two whip finish half turn. Just to make sure that it doesn't go anywhere. Then I'm just going to wrap this, touching wraps, because I want to have that. I want these fibers to stick out a little bit, but I also want to have that nice dark base underneath it, right? So I'll go one more for sure. Will I get a second one in there? You know what? I'm going to go one more. Just bring that around, then Make sure you catch that thicker part, the main stem if you want to call it. Tie that down and behind, in front, a couple of turns, and now you can just nip that off. Okay, so there's your body. That's it. It's really simple. Now I'll do another half hitch here, just so I don't lose it when I'm tying in my biots here. So now your goose biots come on a piece like this, right? I've already cut a couple of pieces off, so there's what I've got. So now I'm just going to cut off that little, I want a nice square corner, so I'm just going to cut that off. Then I'm going to tie it in with the, first of all, the tip to the front, because I want it out. I want the square end on the fly. And if you can see, it's kind of hard to see, but you can see that the biot's got a bit of a curvature. It's got a bit of a curvature. I want that curvature going in, because I want this to, I don't want it to stick out. I want it to stick up against the body. So I'm just going to hold it onto the side. Now you got to be careful with these biots. They can be really brittle. A couple of 3 turns. I'm going to pull it back a bit. That's a little long for what I'd like. So actually I'm going to have to back it up 1 turn. Had to actually undo it because it didn't stay where I wanted it to stay. I'm going to give that just a bit of a twist, a turn, because I want it. It's going to probably be hard for you guys to see this one because it's on my side, but the one on your side you'll be able to see better. I want it right along the side. So preparing my second one, exactly the same thing. I'm going to lay it, and I don't want to cut this other one yet because I want to make sure that I get these the same length, and I want to be able to have something to grab onto. So now, again, I've just laid it in there. So these can be, you can see how soft they are. So they want to kind of move wherever they want to move. So kind of just got to manipulate them a little bit. Sometimes it can be a bit of a bugger, especially if you got big clunky hands like I do. So let's see, how is that looking? It's not too bad. This one could go down just a bit, but I'm actually okay with those two. So I'm going to give it half a dozen turns there. I'm going to give it 1 whip finish just to hold it again while I'm working. And I'm going to just take this and I'm going to trim it off as close. Actually, I'm going to grab my smaller, tighter scissors here with a tighter, sharper edge here. I'm just going to nip that off right tight as I can. Same with this one. I'm going to nip it as tight as I can. So now I'm just going to, those little orange pieces that were left at the front here, I'm just going to try to fold those in and have them away so we don't see them. I'm going to build just a little bit of a head. Just try to get that all in there. Okay, now my final whip finish. Just do a 4 or 5 turn whip finish is good enough. You don't want a huge head here, but you do want a little bit of a head. Pull that off, get that nice and tight. Cut that off. So there is my buzzer. Now I do have a little bit of material there, so I'm just gonna touch it with the, yeah, there we go, that's better. Just touch it with the lighter. So there's the buzzer. Now this side here is just a little bit up, but I can force that down a bit because I want them laying right beside. So now you can leave it like that if you like, but actually I just noticed that this one side here is just a touch longer, so not a big deal. Just give it a nip. There we go, that's better. So You can leave it like that, but because these the goose biots are pretty brittle, you definitely want to try to protect them. So what I do is I take some, this is Gulf UV resin. Unfortunately the sticker has come off, but I just put a little bit onto a paper pad, right? Just a little tiny bit onto a paper pad, and then I grab my bodkin again, and I just grab that tiny bit on the end of the bodkin, and I actually just cover the biot and the head. So I'm not putting much on, very little, and then just a little bit on the head itself. If you get a little bit on the organza, it's not a huge deal. The organza is not really there for movement anyway, so then I hit it with my UV light. Just get that nicely cured. But you can see on the camera there, look how those hot spots, they really, actually even on the camera it doesn't show up that well, but they really glow when you hit them with the UV. They really glow. So you can do this in red, you can do it in orange, you can do it in yellow. This goose biot that I have is actually a little on the yellow side. It looks really orange when you have the biot itself like this, but if you take a look at the biot once you stripped it, and what you see, it's a lot more yellow than the edge. So but yeah, you can use, and you don't have to use goose biot. You can use any kind of hotspot material that you want. But that's it. It's like I said, it's a really, really simple pattern. I like fishing these static under on a dry line. No indicator, no nothing. Just let these sink naturally. Here in Alberta, we're allowed to have 3 flies, so I'd use this as one of my dropper flies, and yeah, they work really well. Just give them a little tiny bit of movement, and they do well. So if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe if you haven't already, and smash that like button and smash that notification bell, and we'll so you don't ever miss another video, and we'll see you in the next one. Tight lines.